For Off the Block, I'm Van Lipson. We are now joined by Princeton men's volleyball head coach Sam Shweisky. And Coach, last time we saw your team, you guys were in the EIVA tournament, trying to get that berth to the NCAA tournament. Been a pretty eventful offseason for you guys. You know, you kind of look, your players are coming back to campus. You've had signed some big recruits. What is in store for Princeton in 2018?
Well, we're pretty excited for 2018. And, I think we feel like we've been building towards the improvement in our recruiting classes the last few years, and I think this could be the culmination of an exciting cycle. We have a pretty deep senior class. Junior Robo comes back for his final year, and he did some great things last year, and I'm excited for him to do some more things this year. And Kendall Ratter is going to be a senior and played really well throughout last year. So I think those two guys kind of anchor our senior class. And then, obviously we've got that great trio that are going to be sophomores, George Human, Greg Luck, and Parker Dixon. So we're excited to see what those guys do. And then we've got some, exciting freshmen coming in the group, Joe Kelly, as well as Jess Hunt. And so I think those guys are going to come in and see if they can compete along with the other guys that are in the program. So, we're pretty excited. We didn't really graduate too much. We graduated a starting center, and that was pretty much all we graduated from last year's class. And we brought in some more talent. I think a lot of these guys have improved. I know George Human got a chance to play with the junior national team this summer, which was really helpful for him. And Parker Dixon trained with that team before the cuts were made, which I know helped him a lot. Joe Kelly was part of our youth national training group before the cuts were made. I know he improved a lot. And then I know Jess Hunt played on the SCBA Southern California regional team in the High Performance Championships. I think they made it to the finals, which he really enjoyed. So a lot of those guys got a lot of good volleyball in, and we're excited. It was 20 years ago this year that Princeton went to the Final Four, and we're hoping that it's going to be a clean 20 years and we can make it back this year. So that's what we're shooting for.
And Coach, I do want to ask about your middles, because with Obo and Human, you have maybe one of the best middle combinations in the country that maybe not a lot of volleyball fans know about. So I want to ask, as a coach, as you go into the season, offensively, are you going to try to scheme a little bit more to get the middles involved, just because you know how much offense they can produce for you guys?
Yeah, I think, the name of the game obviously always comes down to serving and passing. And, can we pass well enough to keep those middles involved significantly? Yeah, they're both really talented. And, I think we're actually going to have 3 setters in the program this year. We've got, like I mentioned, Joe Kelly comes in along with Nico Jaya, the 2 freshman setters. We also have Shane Gooding, a returning sophomore setter. So I think, the battle at the setter position is going to be a great one, and I'm excited to see which setter can get the middles the most involved from, passes 5, 6, 7 feet off the net. But then the question is really going to come down to our outsides and liberos and our serve receive unit. Can we pass well enough to get the production out of those guys that they deserve? And we'll see. Obviously, there's some wrinkles and ways we can get them. Maybe some higher balls out of system and stuff. Maybe some outside the box ideas. It's possible, but we also have some great pin hitters. So, we'll probably leave them in the middle for the most part. But yeah, they're definitely going to be a focal part that we're excited to use.
And talking about your outsides and oppos with Parker Dixon, last year we saw him put up some really big numbers as a freshman. Do you think that he potentially could continue to have these types of big numbers, but do it more consistently and put up seasons like we saw Cody Kessel do for you guys back in the day?
Yeah, I think I'm excited for Parker's progression. Parker picked up the sport late. He was a basketball player, and even when he picked up the sport coming out of Texas, he really didn't play at the highest level until sort of later on in his high school career, doing some stuff with USA Volleyball. So, his progression has been really at an incredible trajectory, and I'm excited. This summer he had a chance to train with the USA team, and he almost made that final roster cut to go to Prague, Czech Republic, with that team. So I'm excited. I don't know necessarily if we'll put him back on the right or the left. I know he played left with the junior training group, and they said he did pretty well there. So, we'll get him in the gym, and we'll compete at both pins and see where he is. But, yeah, I'm excited. I think he has the potential to be a real talent in the EIVA this year.
Yeah, Coach, I do want to ask, because, right now, obviously season starts in January. Really with NCAA rules, you can't really delve in, get that, real extended training block till later on in the semester. So what is this time for you right now as a coach? What's your primary concerns at the beginning of the semester with your players on campus?
Yeah, I think, the very beginning, the guys get back next week, and middle of September. I think September, October is just really letting them acclimate to college life. Princeton academics are pretty intense, and I want to give them a chance to acclimate academically and socially. And so, we don't overload them in the beginning months. We lift a few days a week. We train a couple days here and there. They have some open gyms. We have a lot of recruits in at that time too, so we don't want to really overload them too much. And as we get into the later part, we come back from our fall break in November. That's when we pick up a little bit more, training a little bit more, and we have tournaments and stuff like that. But for right now, just kind of trying to get the fundamentals underneath us. Obviously, a lot of serve and pass work, and if we do work on the offense, just make sure we're clean on the tempo that we're running, and so all on the same page, especially like I said with three setters. So just kind of putting the building blocks in place on offense and defense, and all the all the schemes and plans and things that we use. So when we get into a lot more 6-on-6 competitional stuff later in the year, the foundation is there.
And Coach, I do want to ask you about the EIVA this year. Obviously it feels like, this conference has gotten tighter and tighter every single year. Do you think that that's going to be a continuation again this year where, it's just going to be competitive and we won't know till the final week of the regular season who's even going to be in the postseason for you guys?
Gosh, I hope so. I think that's been our goal for a long time is to get this league tooth and nail, and it's gotten better. I think it's a little unfair to say that it's completely balanced. I think Penn State is still the juggernaut that sits atop our league, and we've chipped away, and teams have beaten them, and teams have beaten them now in the playoffs in the past. But I still think until people start beating them more consistently, they've got that kind of history, and they've got that kind of perch above the top of the mountain. But I think there's obviously an honest respect from everyone in the league to everyone else in the league, and I think that's exciting. I think every league match, every night is, it's up for grabs, and you're never sure who's going to win it, and I think that makes for some exciting volleyball. So, yeah, I hope it comes down to the wire, and we're excited to hopefully play our part in making it an exciting season.
All right, Coach, and one final question, we'll let you go on this. You always schedule good competitive non-conference matches, but give me the one non-conference match this season or upcoming season that you're most excited about.
Well, it's funny you say that because we bit off a lot. Almost, we'll see how much we can chew. We bit off, I think, 7 West Coast teams. It's going to be. We go out to California twice. We go out for the Santa Barbara tournament. We play USC early in that week, and then we play Santa Barbara, Stanford, and Long Beach. And then we come back to California. We've got UCLA, San Diego, and Pepperdine. So I don't know. I'm excited about a lot of those. We've never played at USC. It'll be really fun to play against Coach Nygaard in the Galen Center. The Santa Barbara tournament is a really historic one. We played in that before, but we've never played Stanford, to my knowledge, in the history of our program. So that'll be a fun Princeton-Stanford matchup. And then coming back the second time, Coach Keller and I are really good friends, and to get to work here this summer again will be really fun to play UCLA. And then Pepperdine. We've never played at Pepperdine, to my knowledge, and so, I know Marv officially has retired, but I'm kind of hoping he's going to be on the bench or be around, because to get to play Pepperdine with Marv Dunphy around is a pretty special thing we hope to be able to do. So I know I didn't answer your question you asked for one, but I'm pretty excited about all of our non-conference, and that's just some of the West Coast stuff that we've got slated for January.
Yeah, well, I do have to follow up about that Princeton-Stanford match. Do you think that there will be a player on the court who has an IQ lower than 170 when you guys play?
I don't know. We don't chart by IQ, but I'm sure it'll be some high brain power on the court going back and forth. Certainly on the court. I don't know about the coaches on the sidelines, but the court for sure will be full of some pretty smart kids. That's for sure.